great.
Them dropping in kind of works and everything.
Slowly chipping away your name over there, aren't they? That's all one sign still up.
I know, yeah. I think it was a mistake.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I'm not there anymore, so I never fell off traction with your baby.
All right, I have 9 o'clock. Call the October 6th county commissioner meeting to order with the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we do every first Monday of the month, staff meeting time. So go around the room and update us on what you've been doing for the last 30 days. Danny, we'll start with you, maintenance.
Okay. So last month, we had 38 work orders come through the system last month for various buildings. We did get the floors stripped and waxed down in the basement of the jail, which was desperately needed. So we got that done. We'll go to this first floor sometime next week when we get working in, and the second floor is the hardest. We'll get them all 3 waxed up for them.
KMK doing that?
Yes, they are. Did a very good job. The contractors are on steel walls. They're gonna be completing the iPod next Tuesday morning. We gotta be over there at 8 o'clock for the inspection with VAD. So we'll be moving, I think they're moving to K-Pod next, which is a big one. So,
Sounds like I'll be getting a call later this week.
sounds like, yeah. We had some brick pavers down at Lucy Webb Hayes' house, one in the front door that sunk down. They asked us to relay them. We actually had a whole bunch of brick pavers left over from the jail. We took down there and relayed new ones. Looks really good. Did it. And then the back porch and the handicap ramp is pretty in bad shape, so I'm getting quotes to put it in concrete. That'd be my third time replacing it since I've been here. You know, it's just, so we're gonna try to do it. I'll get prices for you. And we have some siding down there that needs to be fixed. Rock spots in it that need to be fixed, so that's gonna be part of the quote too. I've got 2 different people bidding on it, so I'll probably bring that to you here pretty soon. Ryan's crews got all the shrubs, landscapes, everything tore out down there. You know how it looked like a jungle down there, so they've got it all tore up, tilled up. We're replacing some shrubs down there on that. By painting that picket fence around there, make it look pretty good. So we're gonna do that all in-house. Except for the siding and concrete pour, we're not gonna do that, we'll bid that out. Let's see, we got the fire alarm inspection for this courthouse. We always do on a holiday Monday, we always do it on Columbus Day, so we'll get in here and get all the bells and whistles sound off when ain't nobody around.
Do you
That's
have
usually-
a time for that? Or you got a time for that, or is it?
Start at 8 a.m. on Monday morning on holiday, on Columbus Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do
Next
it.
Monday.
Yeah, we do it when ain't nobody around, so. Let's see. I know we talked about the service center thing, about putting that ductwork wrap in the contract. We're just gonna do it in-house. We got up there and kind of looked at it. I think Timmy can do that, and get a couple guys and my guys out there to do that in-house. We'll get that done before the project starts. So I'm not gonna include that in the project out there. So, let's see. I know you guys ain't gonna wanna hear this one. We're gonna start putting the Christmas lights up on the courthouse starting this sometime this month, so. If you see a bucket truck out there, we're gonna start putting the Eve lights up and all that stuff, and, you know, because we always had to have it done by second week in November,
So it's the Thanksgiving weekend, you turn them on, right?
Well, last year I turned them on for the Halloween parade, just the Eve lights, you know. But I mean, it's because it looked good. But I mean, we're going to start doing that and the pillar lights because that takes so much time.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the Christmas tree up usually about a week before.
You got a Christmas tree yet?
We've got one call in, but I think that's all we got. Just one call in on the Christmas trees.
Yeah, we haven't taken.
So, anybody wants to call in, I'll take a look at it. You know, you guys know anybody. So, I think that's about it. Something else I can't. Oh, the airport hangar doors, all 40 of them. I'm gonna get a price off of McKee Door to go through and look at all of them. I haven't had them done. Last one I did it was after 2000 in Illinois, I think it was, and it's been 15 years or better probably since I had them all looked at. So I'm gonna give us a quote on looking at all of them because some of them needs a little bit of work on them.
What is this, like garage doors with a hinge?
Yeah, that's some big bifold doors that comes up like airplane hangar doors.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna get them guys. They said they give me some references. They do some other airports around.
Folds out on the outside of the building.
Yeah, right. So right now, I think they're all working, but some of the cables are frayed. We might have to replace some cables and just some of the buttons. And when you push it, you have to hold them in when you shouldn't have to. Just stuff like that. Sort of and then I still want to get with you about the lighting on replacing all the LED lights out there because they're still old. Screw in, you know, last two, you know, they're old. So, yeah.
Can we do that in-house, or you gonna have somebody else to do that? Change all of it.
I don't know. We'll probably could, but we'll see what, you know, some companies can come in and do it. The problem of it is, they gotta get the planes out of the ring to do that. That's the worst case scenario. So we probably want to do it in-house just because we can set it up and move maybe a whole side out one time and then call the next people in that row. But, you know, some people probably don't get there, or, you know, we'll have to probably work with them, you know, so it'd probably be just easy to do it in-house.
Do we have runway lights?
Runway lights is done by Jess Howard. So we have one that got knocked down. They're supposed to be, I think, it may got replaced. But yeah, that Jess Howard usually does all that stuff.
Do you inspect them during the course of the year, or he just comes when we call?
I think they do inspect them, yeah.
You do inspect them?
Yeah, was don't they do our PAPI lights too? I think they do our PAPI lights. which is-
They do all the lights.
Yeah, they do all the lights. Yeah, we, now as far as going out and changing the little bulbs, we do that sometimes, but when they have problems, we don't touch them. Yeah. So, I think that's it.
All right. Thanks, Danny.
Yep.
Josh?
Going from memory here, I didn't put any notes together. The helping Devin with some things. Sitting in on the comprehensive plan meetings.
They do that.
Some floodplain stuff. The floodplain stuff is really old. And the first gentleman we met with is going on vacation for 6 months, so Devin and I just kind of decided we'll let this linger because he's not getting responses from folks at the state level anyway. Mr. Johnson out on Williams with the airport issue. He just emailed me first thing this morning that he heard back from the FAA that there is no hazard. So my understanding is I'm okay to issue that permit. So we'll move forward with that today. Had a phone call from Brandon Gill from the city last week regarding the new visitor center. He wanted to know who was going to permit that building since it was on city property, owned by the county, and operated by other entities. And I said, I think that's a question for the higher ups. So he was going to get to the mayor, and the mayor will, I'm guessing, contact one of you guys.
Yeah, we'll be the permittees.
That's just, I thought we was gonna get a permit.
Okay.
We'll be the permittee. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
That's no problem. We've been back in Greenfield since March 17th, and we've issued well over 200 permits, which is staggering considering we've been in Wellston for about the same amount of time and issued 8 permits. So there was a big hailstorm went through Greenfield that contributed to this, so you know we've had a little help there. Everything has been going really well over there, except for we have a couple contractors that are just 100% defiant. I'm not going to get a permit, and been a few altercations, but working with the village over there to find out, you know, what kind of support they're going to give us, because either they need to send law enforcement over to address the situation, or they need to, you know, take them to court and prosecute them for not following the rules. And you know, right now Greenfield is changing from a city manager form of government back to a federal form of government, so they have an absent city manager. It's an engineering firm, and he only works 1 day a week, so there's not really any support from the top over there. So I think that's about all I've got for this month.
And we'll talk more in your budget meeting today, and appreciate you making the time for that too.
Okay.
You know, that came at a cost, so we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Looks like the stats on the chart that Lauren does for us every month maintain from like a June jump.
They usually stay pretty level. I mean, we'll have some slow periods around the end of the year here. It'll slow down pretty quickly. Around the times when you actually think there would be more construction, like late summer vacation time, it kind of gets a little stagnant there sometimes as well. But just you never know when the phone's gonna ring.
Well, you know, I think with the ACDP projects coming up, I mean, I'm assuming those are all required permits.
Not necessarily from his office.
Yeah, a lot of them are gonna be exempt from our office because, you know, chapter 1 of the building code exempts a lot of things,
Okay.
so.
So-
Visitor center, amphitheater,
It's third-party inspections is what will take place in the streetscapes and say park amenities, for example.
Okay, that's good. All right. All right, anything else, Josh?
nothing.
No? Ryan?
Same old, chipping away at the trash.
Somebody puts it down, you pick it up, right?
That's how it works. The health department does have their tire drive coming up this Saturday at the fairgrounds, 8 to 12. I believe. We renewed our scrap tire agreement, so we got the tires picked up out of the engineer's office where we keep what we pick up off the road. The phone does seem to be ready and getting maybe some more workers coming back to the truck now. I think maybe Dana retiring has something to do with that, but so hopefully that follows through. You never know. But that's really all about it for this month. Grant opening today. It's first day of open enrollment period, so we'll talk about that here
Okay.
later.
Second.
Yep,
Okay.
that's really about all I got.
Just overall from a high level, what are getting better, getting worse? Depends on where you go.
Depends on where you go. About the same, really. It goes in spurts. And it's that time of the year, like the recycling bin sites, they seem to be a little worse right now, but then that'll slow up for a bit before the holidays, I would say, but there's always something there. Yep, you never know.
I was surprised, I went to our site last Wednesday or Thursday, and it was below the doors, and I went yesterday, and it's bulging out of every opening.
I think that people's realizing the last few good weekends before the weather changes and stuff, cleaning everything out.
I'm doing that myself.
A lot of the yard sale items appearing in piles here and there.
I'd like to explore some ways to play offense a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think maybe this afternoon we can talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Just have an ongoing conversation with that. And I'm not saying the Z word, I'm not doing that. I learned October 16th of 2023, 9:05 a.m. 15 seconds. I remember it. But, yeah, we probably need to start talking about that and how that will impact your department. We'll talk about that in a bunch of meetings Saturday. Sarah?
Well, hello. Just to piggyback off of Ryan, we have our RCCA doing their roadside cleanup tomorrow. And I think they're doing some work around the courthouse too, if I'm correct. Am I right about that, Dan?
It might be today.
I thought it was 7.
Maybe it is. I
Okay.
know they're coming down this way.
Well,
They're gonna get
it's
wet
happening
tomorrow.
this week.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna get wet tomorrow.
As far as the wellness program, I received the completion list from Subco on Friday, so that's going to be going out to all department heads today with the appeal date of October 15th. I already had kind of an appeal file going, so I tried to clear most of those out this morning, but I assume we will probably have a few appeals. As far as communications, thank you to Andy. He got me some lights and some microphones that like clear background noise, so I can do departmental interviews and we won't have a lot of background noise and things like that, so I appreciate that. I got on the comp plan team and been working on some things for Devon on their Facebook page. So that's going over pretty well. But you guys just keep me informed if there's anything you need from me to put out for you guys too. So
Okay.
that's where I'm at right now.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. Hannah McKee from Subco and Mike Kendall, they are both gone. So those were both of my wellness program contacts. So I'm redirecting myself right now with Melissa and trying to figure out our new contact, so,
I was gonna say, most of them were appointed.
yeah, she's been great.
And that was expected at CCAO. We talked about that before.
Okay, yeah.
That wasn't a surprise.
Okay.
Andy?
Busy month. Biggest thing on my plate right now, and this is going to be a matter that you guys will probably want to weigh in on some degree on, is House Bill 96. Among a variety of other things, it mandates a lot of cybersecurity policies, response planning, things like that. Things that we more or less have, but should probably codify into words. The stickiest spot's going to be House Bill 96 defines it as every, county, city, township, separate legislative body needs a policy. So differentiating, of course, between county, city, townships, things like that. However, the language in there doesn't say anything about intra-county, differences or policies. And I appreciate the stickiness that might present. Went down to Logan and met with another 15, 20 county tech people last Friday. Had a big, long discussion, amongst all of them. The prevailing policy is everyone's winging it. Everyone is just sort of winging it at the moment. There's not a whole lot of firm guidance on how best to implement this other than January 1st, we have to have approved policies in place. There's some mandates that went into effect this month, basically. Reporting, any cybersecurity incident that meets a particular threshold has to be reported to various state agencies. No ransomware payments without, board approvals, things like that. In the discussion that we had down there, we all kind of danced around the issue, and then eventually just got to it of, are we doing this at a commissioner level that applies to every county office, or are we allowing for individual offices to sort of set their own policy? Again, no firm answer. Every county seems to be doing it slightly differently. There are a couple of ways we can do this, and I've got my recommendations. One is countywide policy, it applies to everybody. Now, me setting policy that applies to every county office and elected official, we've had that fight before. I don't know that that's the best way to do it. You can do it where everyone has sort of implemented, their own. I don't think that's a particularly good recommendation either, because ultimately some individual departments falling is eventually going to lead back to you guys.
Most of it's going to come back to us.
It's going to come straight back to you guys eventually. It just depends on how long it takes to filter. I think there's a hybrid model here that is the best application of it, which is come up with a policy that follows the framework that the state is laying out. We need to follow various different federal policies and NIST and all this, and then essentially give this to other departments to either adopt by proxy on their own and say, yes, we'll abide by this, or we have our own that at a minimum baseline follows your all's policy too, so that at worst, they're doing their own policy, but it meets our baseline minimums, and that gives them some autonomy to, interact with their own data in maybe ways that we don't have systems, where they have to have coverages that we don't, or practical implementations, and it also gives them some more autonomy and respects their office and their own individual tech groups. So I think that's probably our best model, is we apply something at our level, allow other people to adopt it if they want, but if they don't want to, they just at least have to kind of meet our baseline minimums, and that protects you guys with, hey, such and such a department did it. Well, they signed off on this, and it gives us some coverage. That seems to be the prevailing thought for how other counties are going to handle this. They all have their own sticky departments and local issues. So that's the biggest thing going on. I have a meeting that I need to get approval formally from you guys on up in Columbus. There's a small fee attached to it. So
November 18th or 19th?
Is somewhere early.
We signed off on that last week.
Okay, I would say it's like $200 or something. So I'll go up, and that is more state level people, so I hope to get some more refined answers than at the county level. But we're ahead of that. We'll be fine. We'll have stuff for you guys to sign well in advance and adopt of the deadline. I've had some other counties reach out to me asking for advice and input and trying to help as best I can. but that's the biggest issue I've got going on right now.
Just to that, Andy, what is our level of exposure to infection or some malware getting loose in our system, and how far reaching into our system is that?
I mean, in terms of exposure, we all play in the same, playground. We're all on the internet, we all are using similar products. The line I always use is I like the holes in our submarine to be as small and as few as possible. And we have a lot of policies in place that have not always been popular that help, prevent that. We have, limitations on what people can access, the administrative.
Those thumb drives, that really pisses me off.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a sticky wicket, but I'll be honest, it's probably saved us more than a couple times with the number of people just bringing stuff in. But it's the evolution of tech. It's the same thing that floppy drives were. They used to be really handy and popular and great and wonderful. They're just not anymore. And there's a risk that outweighs any benefit with cloud storage. It's a moot point at this point. But we limit what people can do on their computer in terms of administrative rights. We limit to what sites people can get to within some reasonability. It's always a dance between giving someone the freedom to operate their machine the way that it needs to run, while restricting them to things that can actively hurt them. We toe a pretty middle ground on that. You go to different counties, some won't even let you check personal email. If you try and check your Yahoo mail, they'll block you because it's an attack vector that doesn't have a work purpose attached to it. We do, because I'd probably get taken out in the back alley and beaten if I started, trimming it down to that level of stuff. I think we have reasonable policies that keep us safe, and knock wood, in the 12 years I've been here, we haven't even had a hint of an incident. So we're either really lucky or we're doing something right, probably a little bit of both. But this is just the evolution of that. It's refining policies, it's taking a look at what we do, how we do it, how it matches up to other organizations, how it's lining up with state policies. Insurance is a huge driver of this stuff too, because they're ultimately the financial, person for any exposure. I think we're in a better than most place if you're looking for a short answer. I think we're good. We have the same risks. I think we've taken it more seriously and sooner than other places have, and I think it shows in the results.
I'll send feelers out for any comprehensive programs through CCAO at the board meetings in a couple weeks here.
I've been making some inquiries too through our insurance group and again other county agencies, and I'm looking forward to this meeting in November to get some better ideas. And after that meeting, I'll start putting together actual words on paper and start developing policy. But we have it in practice, we just don't have it on paper right now. We just need to write down, in the event of an issue, here's our continuity of business plan, here are our key contacts, here are our key resources to get back up first, here's the order that we're going to do it. In the event of a building-wide disaster, here's our fallback position, things like that. These are all things I've got rattling around in my brain because I'm just OCD about it. But yeah, we'll put that on paper and I'll get you guys something to adopt.
If there's any jewels at that meeting you're going to later on in November, like a kind of a heads up on that, or what you found out there.
Yeah.
Because this is, to me, a ticking time bomb.
It is, and I mean, to our credit, to past commissioners' credit, and your all's as well, we've had a very receptive board when it's come to taking these risks seriously. Every time I've asked for, hey, 2017 we did a comprehensive penetration test. Last 2 weeks had volumes of stuff, asked for lots of money for remediation. Did very well. We are ahead of the curve. I'm confident. I've stacked this up against some of the big boys out there for the way we're doing things, and just had a lot of support in doing it. So that's the biggest thing on my plate right now, just to kind of make you guys aware of in terms of our interactions for it. But still gathering the specifics, I would still recommend that hybrid approach where we have a policy but let, say for instance, the court systems with their own IT people come up with their own policy. They were there at the meeting. Lisa Barandiana attended that meeting as well, Logan. So we're all, aware of the same information, but I'll reach out to them and, with your blessing, suggest that approach of, hey, develop your own policy as well. We'll have our guidelines play together but separate at the same time. So
As long as they don't leak into each other. Appreciate you keeping that one out of ours.
what's that? Yeah.
Courts, yeah.
there were a lot of people that had, talked about incidents that they had experienced down there, and again, we're either good or lucky or both, but, so in addition to that, just a lot of projects, lots of odds and ends. Video footage requests continue to get to be a bigger thing. Someone got hit on a scooter in the middle of Paint and Main, driver took off. Don't have cameras focused on Paint and Main because it's not our building. Gonna work with some camera people on getting some better coverage down in that area. Gonna put some cameras in our back parking lots, over here where we just have spots that we've just never touched or gone, but it's a bigger and bigger issue. I get a request a week probably from some law enforcement agency or individual. Helping the prosecutor.
To that point, we're working on a security plan for this building.
Okay.
And really that'll branch off into all of our buildings.
Yeah.
So we'll work in tandem with that, with the cameras. It's perfect.
Yeah, anything you guys want to cover, pretty much we can cover because we have fiber between here, the archives, and LCMB, so it's all in one network here. 15 North Payne's the same way. You want to cover anything on this campus, more or less, we can do because we've got a footprint in all those spaces to branch off of.
Yeah, we got to think of 15 on Main Street. We got to think of
Yep.
Service Center. Yeah,
Yep.
just kind of put that into
Yes.
program.
Service Center probably has 50 cameras up there right now. We probably have about 110 or so across here in 15 North Payne. We're going to add about 5 today. I want to add about 3 at that intersection, but just let me know what you want to cover. We can cover it. We're due to upgrade that camera server probably next year. Anything over about 120, you start needing a secondary server for, so we may need to start branching this off into load balancing. Basically, it's a ton of data to stream in across 120 cameras in high definition, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It takes a toll. But finish the internet upgrade here, continue working with planning on some integrations with their software, laptops for the dog warden. There's a website update proposal Brad and I, just got back that we want to bring up to you guys at some point. It's been 10 years since we've had a refresh, and it's probably time. And we've got some need for better navigation in terms of how people interact with the site, just keeping it update. A lot of odds in it. Recorder had a project that we were talking about earlier in the year about integrating them in with our stuff. Their software company just disappeared. Couldn't get a hold of them, wouldn't answer calls, wouldn't answer emails. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, it's, hey, we're ready to do this. Well, by then, Major's already started to shop alternatives, so we've kind of paused with GovOS and are working on the next iteration. I had a conversation with him last week, so that's still out and about, but no real action because for some reason they just disappeared. Million odds and ends that you guys don't really need to bore you with. We've got some big projects coming next year. The budget part of, my part of the budget, the data processing's budget is an increase over last year, and more than I even like, but it's just the way chips have fallen this year. Our main server is 5 years old, and that is end of life. It's end of life January or February, so I need to get that swapped out. That's a sizable cost. We have increased security, needs, which comes with costs as we build and rank projects up.
Plus, I know we're asking you to cover more ground too, so.
There's that. That's part of it for sure. Some of it's nice in that, as we absorb places or work with more spots, we have the infrastructure to handle a lot of that. Our massive, we're not adding a huge amount of users that makes us change what tech we have. We can absorb, because I tend to overbuild stuff just because there's always an additional ask. We never buy a piece of equipment and ask it to do less. And since it lasts 5 years, it's overbuilt from the start. But the bigger thing with projects, probably a replacement camera server, probably an additional camera server, an additional main server that's files, logins, all of that. And then I want to try and pull a security project off, depending on how all the stuff with House Bill 96 stuff runs out, where we sort of reevaluate and look back at what we have after we've gotten things set and where we can improve. We did that in 2017, 2018, I don't want to do that intensive, but similar, where we just kind of have an independent third-party look. Here's what we're doing. Poke holes in it for us, you know, and continue to be proactive so that we are ahead of that curve. And when new requirements come in, it's not scrambling to meet it. It's, oh yeah, we've been doing that for 5 years now, no big deal. So.
Well, and next year, we're probably going to be in the planning phase for relocation of these offices, the non-judicial offices, out of the courthouse to somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different project, enormous project too.
Yeah, that'll be sizable. So any guidance you guys have in terms of even just the thought process, just so I can start my brain spinning, because I'm going to start needing to line up cabling people, and if it's one building, it's a different story, and if it's another building, it's a different story. It lets me start pre-planning and mentally laying out what our wireless map is.
Yeah, we'll start project managing from that offline, so.
Okay.
Good deal. Thanks, Amy. Cool. Alex, how you doing?
Good, how are you? So there's been quite a big increase of dogs recently. I think we're at a total of 630 to 635 now, because I did bring in a few this weekend. A lot of people are dumping dogs left and right now. I've been having to set traps. I'm actually going out again today to try to get one I was unable to get. It's been on the run for a few days. People letting their dogs run loose. I've had a few calls about dogs getting hit by cars. Most of the time before I can get out there, the owners have already claimed it. I also did want to thank you for the computers. They have been great. Like, there's such a huge help. There's been an increase in cruelties as well lately. I'm still doing follow-ups on a few of them, but I have to wait for family money to get back before I can really go into it. Tags have been getting sold a bit more, I feel. I don't have anything else.
So the year-to-date, last time, September, the yearly total was 556 or 456, and it's 630 now?
That is
in a month.
Let's see. It would be probably around 600 to 635 is where I was told to say
That's the total for 2025.
so far. There was a lot of dogs that have been brought in lately, between strays and everything. And people dumping like their litters after litters of puppies.
That does multiply instead of that, doesn't it? All right, wow. You guys have any questions? Thank you.
Keep going.
Keep up the good work. Yep. All right, Mark, we're gonna jump to you because I want these guys to go last. And have, they're gonna be long. So.
I submitted my reports to you. It kind of touches on each subject there, but on the grants and funding, the federal shutdown is, all grants have been kind of put on hold. A couple grants that we deal with, the EMPG, that normally would run through a 3-year cycle. They've shortened that to a 1-year cycle, at least temporarily. But it shouldn't really, nothing should really affect our operations. The other thing that everybody kind of forgets that EMA is part of Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security. The Homeland Security grants, excuse me, are hard to get for the smaller counties, smaller southeastern counties. So to compete with the bigger cities, the bigger counties, we do regional grants, and that's usually overseen by Robert Kozlowski, the EMA director out of Jackson. They raised the ceiling from $200,000 to $234,000 per grant, so that includes the 10 counties within our region. And part of that is all the money last year, probably 90% of the money went towards law enforcement. So we had actually submitted a separate grant for our hazmat team and for Chillicothe Fire, but it was denied. As far as the one that was approved, Robert took care of that out of Jackson. Our SWAT team Chillicothe SWAT team is actually part of that and receives part of that money. But it's also been put on hold because there's a couple states that are possibly refusing to take the federal money because all federal grants now, there has to be a border component attached. There can't be any agency or county policies. Whatever jurisdiction's applying, can't have any DEI or any other type of racial policies. And then there's also the ICE cooperation, so it makes those jurisdictions or those states ineligible for the federal funding. So they may be redistributing some of that money to like Ohio, so that grant may go up. So I know Chillicothe's in that with some of their, I guess, wish list. But we don't actually apply for any of the Homeland Security money as a county. On the projects, the big things, the hazard mitigation plan, they finally completed milestone 5 and 6. So we're working on the third drawdown for that payment for our contract, but again, that's on hold right now. Anything that's been approved but not distributed is on hold, pending federal review. You'll notice a lot of our community engagement and interagency cooperation, a lot of the things we do are as a region or as a sector. A lot of that's intentional just because of the type of work that we do. Because a lot of the smaller counties have limited resources, we get together as a region or a section to combat the limited resources, and a lot of emergencies also tend to cross county borders, and we all work together. One of the big things was the Benton County incident that kind of showed how we all come together. So you'll see that we do a lot of things as a region. One of the big things we also did was with the Army Corps of Engineers, we did an exercise that involved Highland County, Ross County, and Pickaway County. It involved the Paint Creek Dam and the Deer Creek Dam. We just kind of did a model where, you know, those got hit by severe weather and it actually impacted the city of Chillicothe was the scenario. So you'll see a lot of that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think that the remarkable part of this is that usually prevention of something getting out of control, not that we control nature, but we can control our preparedness for it.
Right.
And the things we avoid from happening they go unseen, and that's really your best work.
And that's where all the mitigation and all the planning comes into play. The other thing with Homeland Security, again, like touching on what Andy said, we get all the information from Homeland Security. We don't do a lot with it because most of it doesn't affect us locally. When we get intelligence and things like that, we share it with the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, the Highway Patrol. Of course, the Highway Patrol gets their own. But we try to share it locally. A lot of it doesn't really apply to us locally, but the big thing is cybersecurity. Not just countywide, nationwide, but just everything international. So that's the big thing. The other big rise is they're getting a rise, especially recently with sovereign citizens, which kind of affects law enforcement when they deal with them. They don't recognize any government agency, any government authority except for the sheriff, which creates its own problems, but they're seeing a rise in that through Ohio. So that's really all I have.
So that mutual aid aspect of it is important. And, you know, the Sheriff's Department is that because it's an elected official department, so that's why it's recognized like that. But I did sign a document here this past week for the addition of a retired ODNR watercraft, speedboat, dual engines. I don't know how fast it goes, 19-footer. But it'd be, I think we have one for the Sheriff's Department now.
A boat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I guess this is replacing that or being an addition to that.
Where are they getting a boat from?
ODNR, it's retired. We're not paying anything for it. It's donated to us.
ODNR just got them canceling out grants for
Maybe they feel bad.
personnel, paid for personnel.
Yeah.
in the boats and stuff like that, so I don't know if the sheriff's department's gonna continue patrolling Paint Creek Reservoir or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, have a look.
That's how they got paid, that's how the deputies got paid, was through that grant.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to figure something out on that, so.
Well, I'm sure when we go with it, but it'll be great. Okay, Mark.
Mark, real quick, question on the text messaging notification system. Did we ever test that? Has there ever been like a test warning that goes out to all the numbers registered?
We don't do a test. We haven't done a test.
Okay.
The test that we did only involved the original agencies that set it up, all the members in the agency, the law enforcement agencies and fire departments and things like that. We haven't sent out a test yet.
Probably not really a reason to test it, or is there?
No, the messages we've received, and we're still working with Code Red on the mapping issue. It's easier to do we're getting some bleed in. We've had some complaints where we're getting like Gallia County or Hocking County, we're getting the other counties. We just had one go out. It was actually for, I think it was Hocking County, but it also included, I think it was northeast portion of our county.
Yeah.
So I know it's working as far as that, because we received those.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Anything else?
All good.
All good. Appreciate it. All right, Jens, you want to carve this up however you want?
Sure. Yeah. We'll start with Kim's work here over the past month. I wanted to make sure that I bring up some of those items she's been working on.
All right.
Great work, of course. And so part of our collaboration and coordination with our municipalities and townships, et cetera. One of the meetings Kim had was with the Village of Kingston. It was a great meeting where they kind of set some priorities on infrastructure needs, et cetera. I think some of you are aware of some of their needs, I think, already. And so one of those is the water meter reader component. So we'll be working with them over the next year to hopefully try to address that. I think that would be kind of a coordinated effort, probably with rural development, Kurt Strickland and his outfit as well. So utilize all those resources to make something happen. Also met with Huntington Township with their OPWC application for road paving. Applied for body camera funds from OCGAS for the Sheriff's Department last month. And right now we're working on a big audit through ODOD for really all of our programs, including ACGP. So it's a financial audit, it's not necessarily a programmatic audit, a little difference. Making sure we're spending the money appropriately. And basically, right now, we're seeing a deluge of invoicing through ACGP because construction is underway now. So Kim's a very busy person. So instead of her coming over here today and we decided she should be working on that right now. So that's her report. Then the next item, we can just kind of hop on over to the comprehensive plan.
Before we go there,
Yeah, sure.
How many of these grants is she administering?
Well, administering, the sheriff's office will administer theirs, okay?
Okay.
So basically, any administration, like from birth till closeout of a grant, if there's a request to actually administer it, we'll actually bring that to you, okay? So it's a difference between just applying for a grant, receiving it, and administering it. So we're trying to keep the administration part
To the department.
yeah, as much as we can, unless they're
I want to make sure.
unless they're
that-
completely incapable of pulling it off.
Do we have any of those without naming names?
I'd have to ask him. I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I know.
I just don't want to see that get shifted where it should be handled. in
Board
the
of Commissioners
department.
ones, yes.
Right.
Obviously.
Other than like this, the sewer one, we'll manage those funds, whether it's the EPA side or the other funding that we have for that project.
Yeah, because that's just some extra stuff in the chain.
Well, it's huge, yeah.
If she's got to come and ask Brad the questions of how he's administrating the grant so she can go report on it, that's just stupid. You know, having those extra steps in there.
No, ACGP, different story. Yeah, we're handling all that in-house. That's why we have such a huge team working on it. So from a financial management standpoint, she's administering the ACGP.
On what level?
Financial.
Benchmarks and reporting timeframes. and-
Reporting is through John. She's taking care of the financial reporting.
Right. And release of funds to the project, bills.
Correct.
She's doing all that paperwork. Nobody in the
Along with
project
Joanne,
site
yes.
is doing that administratively.
Correct. They do internally through their community, yes. So there's kind of a triple there, in fact. So first it goes through DOD, the request, then it filters down through our office, then it goes out. We make payment to the municipality or the project owner. They have their own set of accounting there. So it's kind of accounted for in 3 different locations.
Okay, I just don't want it to get down to the level where she's sitting there sorting and stacking invoices. That's not happening.
Joanne helps with that.
Well, it is happening then.
Well, we have
Your
to,
office.
yeah, because it runs through Ross County, yeah. Every dime comes from here and goes out
For ACGP.
for ACGP,
Yeah.
yeah, right?
But I don't want to see that leaking into if there's something that the local municipality should take care of their projects, I want them to do that, instead of Kim having to ask them what they've done and then report. That's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And I understand
They're
that the
required
grants
month-
work
yeah.
a little different.
They're required monthly to report to us, yeah. That's what John will go over here.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Comprehensive plan.
Yeah, comprehensive
Wait a
plan.
minute, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is in September, no, I'll take that back. Last week, she assisted Huntington Township with the OPWC application for road paving. Before Kim even came along, how did they,
I think a lot of times they'll go to the county engineer's office will help them with that. Yeah. I don't know what actually, I think it was probably because it was so close to the deadline. I think the deadline was like literally last week. So I think she helped them out to accomplish that, so, because they were so close.
does Huntington or any other township give us anything for assisting them?
We help them whenever we can. I mean, that was, as long as she has the time, she'll get them made.
Okay. I'm just, my brain's working here about,
Yeah,
you know, if she's doing this, you know, is it taking 10% of her time away from what she's doing for county business to do somebody else's business? Are we getting
Right.
comps for applying for that grant through another organization?
No, we're not getting admin through that, if that's what you're asking. No, I mean, this is a courtesy to our townships and municipalities, really. Collaboration, coordination, that's what we're trying to do. Help them with resources moving forward, as long as we have the time. Again, we always emphasize, as long as we have the time, we'll help.
Well, see, we're looking down the road a little bit here. When the comprehensive plan starts taking hold and it facilitates into project work instead of just planning work,
Right.
we're trying to protect your people here. I don't want them to burn out when that time comes.
Right.
because that's gonna be a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, we always have a conversation. Are you overtasked or not?
Right. So they gotta have some capacity left.
Right.
They gotta be about 80%. When the comprehensive plan kicks in, it's gonna be taking up that other 20%.
Oh, I agree, and I'll be talking to you a little bit more about that, some of the details, maybe later today, hopefully. our budget hearing.
Okay, we'll cover that in the budget discussions, but I'm trying to protect you, I'm not.
Oh, I know.
That's
No,
what-
I know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. I'm always asking, are you, do you have the time to do this? Appreciate it. So under the comprehensive plan, so we did receive a draft of existing conditions reports for each focus area. We are really identifying right now, as of that draft, we're identifying some gaps when it comes to utilities. So we don't want to release that information to you or the steering committee yet until those gaps are filled with data. So once we get that, should be another week or so, and we'll make sure to get that to you. Really interesting reports, so I can't wait to share that with you, but it is coming, forthcoming. So the next step beyond, yeah.
Real quick, I think once that information comes available and we have an accurate accounting, that's my understanding is there's some conflicting information that comes from the engineering side versus the actual local entity. In this case, I think the city of Chillicothe, but once we have that information, the best way, in addition to the comprehensive plan, which is going to be addressed within the steering committee, using that information to apply it toward some active projects that we've got with Tammy. So bringing Tammy, Ryan from Montrose back in, and you, and probably the other jurisdictions that have oversight as a part of, or have jurisdiction over whatever the utility provider is. Making sure that we know what we've got and that we've got a plan to make it adequate for the growth that we want to see in those focus areas.
Exactly, and right now, in the background, we're working with our economic development teams, Tammy Leonardo's group, Montrose, etc. We have potential development opportunities in the immediate sense and in the long-term sense, okay? So right now, because of those gaps in information, we have to make sure, especially for our immediate needs, right? So we have to be able to convey the most accurate information as possible, quite frankly, to developers. And that's what we're kind of trying to fill that gap right now, get the correct information so that we've got to provide good information to these folks. So that's priority number one. And of course, the long-term analysis for the entire region, let's just take focus area 2. Long-term, the whole concept is to build the scenarios, and I'm going to get into that here in just a minute, but our build-out scenarios for that focus area will determine what the current demand is, what future demand will be 20 years from now, and how do we build that capacity? How do we meet that demand 20 years from now? But most importantly, how about now as well? So,
one thing I want to call time out here right now is that for the rest of the group here, this comprehensive plan is going to impact every single one of you in your department, how it performs, how it's staffed. As we grow as a county, it's going to impact your jobs. So I want you to pay attention to this and try and see yourself in future tense what that's going to look like when these things start to develop. Because you are going to be impacted directly from it. Okay? That's why we have these meetings. So I'm not saying there's blank stares around the room. I'm just trying to let you know the importance of this comprehensive plan and how seriously this board takes it. So, sorry, go ahead.
and so kind of leading into the next step for the core planning group, planning and economic development group working on the plan. So we'll be developing those, we'll be holding a scenario workshop here very soon. That's where the whole core economic development and planning teams get together and look at, well, what can this area, to a maximum extent, 20 years, what can it hold as far as development, industry, light industry, residential, et cetera, et cetera. What does that look like? Then how does that equate to the utility demands? Are we set for the future to serve that? Or do we have a lot of infrastructure capacity needs that we can't currently accommodate. So that's going to be, those kind of things will be built into future budgets, right? Not just for Ross County, but maybe, our other communities. So it's really important. And so that's the next step. We're going to have that workshop, and that'll kind of get us our baseline for year 20 years out. Soon thereafter, and mind you, hopefully all this gets done this month or early in November. Soon thereafter, we'll be meeting with focus area stakeholders, and that would be municipalities, townships, school districts, etc. So we'll be talking to them, those decision makers. Well, how do we incentivize the vision? How do we make it happen to working together collaboratively? And it all goes back to our priorities and protocols on how we look at development and how we cooperate with one another. This is exactly what we're talking about. So that's where we're at with the comprehensive plan in a nutshell. There's a lot more details that I'd like to talk to you about eventually, just probably not in this setting. Any questions?
Probably 1,000, but
Yeah.
until things start developing, it wouldn't be anything like order.
Okay. Pleasant Valley Road. So we do have the traffic impact study. We had our review last week, and we have about 7 bullet points that we need the consultant to address before we want to release that information. It's important. One is an executive summary that basically, for people like me to understand what we need to do now, what we need to do 5 years from now, what we need to do 20 years from now, as far as that particular improvement goes there at that parcel. Now, this is going to lead into the much more wide Pleasant Valley Road corridor analysis. So this is a site-specific analysis that we're doing now. So tell us the improvements that we need now with no build, and with full build out, what's necessary to make it not affect the level of service.
So this is Quentin Road, Pleasant Valley Road?
Yes.
Only.
Correct. Yeah. So long term, well, actually, as quickly as we possibly can, we're working on a. We already received $200,000, $198,000 from the Surface Transportation Block Grant through the Federal Highway Administration. Well, that gets us through a grander analysis of Pleasant Valley Road corridor from Veterans Parkway all the way out to State Route 104. You've all heard this before. But the important part of it is, and we're still waiting, of course, federal government shut down now. We are waiting for the Rural Tribal Assistance Pilot Program to see if we got funding through that. If we do get that funding, that's $750,000 that will go towards preliminary engineering. That's 30% design. That gets us a long way towards actually applying for construction dollars. Okay, so we're talking, potentially close to $1 million worth of analysis and actual preliminary engineering for real solutions to Pleasant Valley Road corridor. Okay, that's the idea. So hopefully we get that grant and we can move forward. But either way, if we don't get that grant, we still have 200. The commissioners have committed to $20,000 as a match to the $198,000 that we did receive. So that'll get us through some analysis out there. So still a good thing, but if we can get to 750, even better. And again, there's a big public engagement portion of all this. So imagine it like an ODOT type of planning project. You will have that public engagement. You'll have alternatives to select from, etc. So it's a big deal. Cross your fingers. Hopefully we get it. But that's what we've been working on for the past month. Any questions? with regard to that.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have any economic development site readiness work outside of Sub 1?
Yes. Focus Area 2 and Focus Area 3.
Okay.
All the existing conditions reports are in draft form. Again, we're still waiting just to kind of fill in those unknowns that we really need to have addressed before we release it. Because the main point is we don't want to have the focus area stakeholders in a room with, especially with data that's not as accurate as it could be.
No, this is a discussion between us.
Yeah.
So we need to know where we're at on those, what,
Yeah.
50,000 foot level needs to be done to have it ready for development.
That's what the end result will be.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
We're getting long in the tooth here. I'll be quick. One thing to keep in mind might make more sense as the plan itself is mature and finalized, but all of what you're discussing on road improvements and things like that, whether it be Pleasant Valley or somewhere else, the thing at the top of my mind is TID, Transportation Improvement District. That's something I think that would be a worthy initiative to explore, or a worthy mechanism to explore as we look toward long-term planning, because you can get planning dollars on a yearly basis from the state through grants that are only eligible for TIDs. So just keep that in the back of your mind for when it's time to pull the trigger on something like that. I think seeing how it feathers in, and we might, I would say I rely on you probably to make the determination on when we've got enough from the comprehensive plan to say, all right, we've got enough that this can start walking in tandem. But I would still imagine by mid-2026, we'll be able to explore, is that something worthy? And if it is, how do we best structure it for our needs as a county?
Agreed. All right. I will turn it over to John Hemmings for ACGP update.
Okay.
On the reporting, I just, as Devin said, that report I gave you, I did that. Kim will use that as well as what is submitted by each of the sub-awardees to submit a report to the state. I used to do that. She said, hey, let me do that. Maybe I need to take it back. But the invoices are coming in. They're rolling in with construction starts. So that's it. That was a good conversation. I'll talk to her about taking it back. Kim's the type that wants to help out, so I said, yeah, if you want to do it, you know. I think it helped her understand where things were on the project. So, and on the invoicing, we do have help. Any of the construction invoices, architect signs off on those and says, hey, these can be paid. And on some of the smaller projects, the local development districts are putting in the sheet. Kim created an invoice cover sheet. So they fill that all out and submit her all the documentation that's necessary. So it's kind of pre-approved from them before she gets it. So really all she's doing is processing it through the auditor's office. And we've got to have her do that part, because I tell you, I don't even know where to go down there to get a bill paid. So, anyhow, we'll help her out. On that thing I gave you, those dollar amounts underneath the names, that's the grant amount. That's not the contract amount for construction. That's just the total grant. Holzer Child Care Center, I don't know if you guys saw it. They're having a groundbreaking tomorrow from, I think it's 4 to 6 over at Gallipolis. So just want to point that out. I plan to attend that, but if you guys are interested, showing up over there. I'm not going to go over a project. You guys can read this. That's one reason I put this together. But Chillicothe, I know you're interested in that. As you've probably seen, they've started on the streets. That's the first phase, or GMP, Guaranteed Maximum Price. There was a meeting Thursday of last week. I come up and attended it. Mayor had a lot of questions about just basically the second GMP on that project is $22 million. And I would have a lot of questions too if I was the mayor before he signed off on it. So it's a good, productive meeting, and I think he got his answers to his questions. And I think that's gonna get signed this week, that GMP2, and you're gonna see construction in the park start real soon here. So, along with finishing the roads, they've got the roundabout up at Mill and Yoctangi and Mulberry Street.
When are they do you know when they're doing striping at Water Street?
The striping thing is, if I've got this right, you know, there at Yoctangi, the little right turn lane, the city's looking about whether they're gonna keep that there. Part of the reason for that is, they're trying to make it more walkable there, and that creates that little island. So as a pedestrian, you get out there on that island.
I walk over there every Monday, pretty much, and.
So you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna look at possibly taking that out, and before they stripe it and then decide to put that back in, they don't wanna, so that's been the holdup. They're kind of looking at public input on that.
Mine was just nosy curiosity, because I was
No.
driving there, down that road this morning, and there was some people driving right in the middle of the road, some people driving like there was 2 lanes.
Right.
Okay.
I find it interesting that on the north side, people are still parallel parking, and that's gonna be a pull-in. But it's just, we do what we're used to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, until there's stripes, no one will change.
Right, until they put stripes in, no one will change their habit, yeah. So I think you're gonna see a lot of work here on the Chillicothe project. The UNESCO project, we just got GMP2, gross guaranteed maximum price on it. Contractor wants to make sure up at Hopeton, they got a geotechnical report back. They want to make sure that the soils up there don't need to be replaced. That's going to add cost if they do. So they're putting the Hopewell site as an alternate on this price quote. We know the price. They gave us an original quote. And they suggested, and I know we accepted the idea of it, and National Park Service liked the idea, to put the improvements at Hopewell on hold as an alternate until we see what happens at Hopeton and see if we've got enough money. And we've actually freed up some money under inspections, talked about inspections earlier. I think we're gonna be okay on that budget, unless they really run into a nightmare at the Hopeton out. And they're gonna start up there, that way they can resolve that and say, no, we don't have the problems we were possibly worried about. And if they find that out, then we'll add Hopewell back in, and that project will start moving forward, so.
Turning any dirt on burial sites.
Yeah.
Problems are their middle name.
Yep, exactly. Going to the section on page 3 where it says projects bid but not under contract. Georgetown Streetscape, they'll be meeting their council October 9th, so later this Thursday, I guess, yeah. And so we should have information on who they want to award to. Paint Creek Trail, they decided on, they had an apparent low bidder, the Eclipse Company out of Chagrin Falls, Ohio. So I think Ben's working on that contract to get that. So by the time I see you guys next month, that will be under contract. Frankfurt, same thing. They open bids. They have an apparent low bidder, Fillmore Construction out of Leesburg. That one I already saw. I think Ben prepared that contract, so it's under review. So the U.S. Grant Visitor Center, that's at Georgetown. Now, I forgot to update this for you. They had one bid come in. I forgot to add it. So they're going to approve that on the 9th as well by the council at Georgetown. So those 2 projects there that aren't in green, the green ones are Ross County projects. Those 2 will probably have contracts on them by the next time I get up here. The Mighty Children's Museum, the state turned down their First Amendment request. They submitted to us and we passed on to the state. They came back with a Second Amendment. I submitted that to the state of Ohio last week, and we're awaiting word back from them on their amendment. Projects out for bid, Athens, our streetscape. This is the 4th time they bid that. There were 2 times they didn't get any bidders. Last time they got a bid and it was way too high. We'll see what we come up with this time. They've changed some things in the scoping as well as increased the estimate, the engineer estimate. Lynchburg just went out to bid last week, and the opening for it is October 23rd. And then on the very back, Bainbridge, they bid the project, but the bids came in over 20% over the estimate, so they value engineered it, they're gonna rebid it, and hopefully the bid date for that one, I haven't seen it finalized yet, is October 29th. So we're getting there. I think if you look at, we've got 75% of our projects are under construction or at least under contract.
That was pretty much expected.
Yeah.
All the construction would hit at one time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wished it would have started about 6 months ago. It makes
Yeah.
me nervous, but, but, yeah, we're making headway. I think a lot of those that you see that are not under contract are gonna be under contract, like I said, at least from, I'd say 4 of them by next time will be under contract. And, then we're gonna be down by the end of the year. I think we'll have everybody moving forward, so. Jack, the only thing I was gonna mention to you, and I don't know if the other commissioners, Ben had sent out that email about that October 29th Bricker Grading event about Southeast Ohio. I know I saw where you said you were gonna attend that. I was reading his email and I asked him, I said, hey, I said, is that something that we're supposed to speak at, or are you just asking? And he says, oh, he goes, I know. He goes, you want to speak at it? I said, no, I don't necessarily want to speak at it. I said,
Thank you for volunteering.
I thought you ought to be the guy to speak.
Oh, well, I don't know.
But I just didn't want to go unprepared, any of us.
Mhm.
And he goes, I know the person putting that together. He goes, I'll get and see if there's any spots left. So I don't know yet, but they may want you to speak.
I'll go up and brag on you guys any day of the week, but I don't mind doing that.
Well, I don't know if we have to or not, but I just want to prep you.
Well, just, when you look at tackling this thing, $154 million, 12 counties, 30 projects, you guys have done a heck of a job.
Thank you.
We're just surprised we can be of you. So, that deserves some praise in front of those people.
I don't know if any other county applied, but you were the only county that was awarded. When you look at the state of Ohio, of course, it was only 32 counties eligible, but Ross County is the only county that was a selected applicant. So it's been great, and I'll tell you, Devin's team is great. They are Kim, Aaron, Devin. We keep him out of it just because he don't want to be in it unless he has to be. He's got enough work. But
I come in when the problems happen.
yeah, exactly. But Devin supports us good and appreciate it. And then the Bricker Grading team, yeah, the LDDs are doing a great job, and even the applicants, I think that I'll even brag on the state. The state has pretty much, when we've made decisions, just like with the one project early on about the stained glass, they supported us. They didn't go around us, and I didn't know how that would work. I didn't want us to look bad and on that, and then everybody think, well, we can go to the state and go around Ross County, but they pretty much drew the line in the sand and said, what Ross County says is what we say.
This is the last I'll say about it, but I would like to see towards the end, I think we can compile data that shows the amount of literally millions of dollars that we saved these projects.
Yes.
Through our teamwork with our legal team, our compliance team, John, et cetera. I do actually want to see that here closer towards the end, because it's amazing the work that they do,
It's done right.
literally in saving money.
It's done right.
Yeah.
That's the way this should be done.
Yeah.
But you got thrown a hook by, if we don't get the Appalachian grant, what are we gonna do? And then you came up with a comprehensive plan. We got the grant, and I said, guess what? You're gonna do this anyway. So doing this all at the same time just makes a whole lot of sense. It prepares us to leap forward as a county. So I appreciate all you made it.
I would echo what Devin just said about the savings. That he's 1,000% right on that. That's been a big benefit.
Devin, are you guys on schedule, everything bidding and construction?
Yeah, so far we're on schedule, and it's all tight.
It is,
Yeah, every schedule's tight. There are some that are almost done already, well, like Welsh Museum.
Yeah, that was
It's a very small project.
It's a small.
Yeah.
75% flipping dirt with a year left. Yeah, we're doing good.
I always use Chillicothe as my base example. It's 2 GMPs are 28 million contracted amount. And Russilli hasn't batted an eye about getting it all done. I said, if we can spend that kind of money in the next year, these other ones be easy. As long as the contractors stay committed, and we have been adamant to tell people, there's been questions here and there, not too many. Do you think we could get a little bit extra time on this? And we're just adamant, no. And the environment in Washington, there's going to be no extension of ARPA. So it's just an automatic no. There's never a hesitation to say, well, I don't know. No, it's no. You get it done.
Or the money's turned off.
Yeah.
And then we don't want to be in that position.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I agree.
We're getting chased here down the road, so glad you're on board. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. It's fun. It's challenging at times, but it's rewarding.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. All right, we've gone an hour and 20 minutes over, so thank you all. Appreciate it. Thanks for the updates. I thought this was a good work.
You can if you want.
I'll just.
I got that one. You guys had a chance to review that contract.
I didn't see anything.
We already got it.
How are you, John?
But, come on in, young ladies.
Morning. You probably don't even have time to listen to me now, do you?
Yes. Morning. How are you doing? Good, how are you? Good.
You probably have already seen this, since I did this like in February, but we're gonna update the dog push. I didn't see this. I think we should, I bought one, I have in a box in case.
You know, you have to, if I keep my grandson off of it.
Floor is yours.
Good morning. So, I'm here to talk about our annual report. So, and this came up because our 5-year contract is due to renew at the end of this year. So we typically give, which I did February 14th, our annual tourism report for 24. So I reprinted that in case you didn't have it in front of you. But I wanted to share some updated stats and numbers this year, because tourism isn't just about numbers, it's about people. But some of these numbers that's been coming in this year has been great. So on our website alone, we have had a total of 93,972 total users. And that's an increase of 56.2% year over year. Returning users is about 25.74%, and then user engagement is up 9.18%. So expanding reach generated more traffic from other states further away. The largest increase of impressions has come from Colorado, and then Mississippi, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alabama, Louisiana, and Texas. And when you look at that, a lot of that, so Oklahoma, Texas, and Mississippi all have tribes that really have the interest of the World Heritage. So I think a lot of those are coming from those states specifically to learn and engage more with World Heritage. So requests for information, so our leads. So in 2024, we had a few hundred. In 2025, as of the end of September, we've had 3,600 requests from 48 different states for more information, where we send out packets with our visitor guide and letters and everything going on in the area. And those top 5 states where requests have been: Ohio is always our best customer, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Florida, and New York. So the travel tourism report from Placer from January through July has overnight trips increased 2.9%. This is year over year. And visit nights increased 5.8% year over year. So a lot of that comes, this year we obviously had the expansion of National Geographic. So a lot of our website traffic and a lot of these leads are coming directly from that advertising, both digital and print. So it has definitely made its money, or will make its money back to this community. It's not something we can commit to every year, but thankfully with you guys, we were able to do that this year. We know that's where World Heritage Travelers goes to look for information. The one thing that we have not seen this year is the international traveler. We expected this summer that's what we were really going to see. I was at a conference this past week in Geneva on the Lake, and across the board we're not seeing that international traveler. So it will come. It's a web and flow, right? It will come back around, but we were expecting to see more of that this year. But
What can increase that traffic that we can do?
I don't think there's anything right now. I think it's just what goes on in the political climate right now.
Canadian travelers are not
Coming. But they will. That will change. So we're still in their mind. We're still doing digital stuff there so when they are ready, we're ready to welcome them. Like I said, all the other stuff you do have, and then I will do the 25 report. Typically I do it in February for you guys. So our calendar year, our budget is on a calendar year. Questions?
Do you have the information, the data that you gave out, that we could have copies of?
Yes, how about if I email it to you?
Okay, that'd be fine.
I'll do that when I get back. Like I said, these next 5 years, it's gonna be a big deal. We're gonna have a new home, a permanent home, which is probably the most exciting thing I can say. We have had a lot of homes since 1983. So having a new building dedicated to this is an exciting time for us. I think we'll still continue to go over the list of roles and responsibilities in the near future. What questions do you have for me?
I don't have any specific questions for you. Thank you for
You get to hear it. You get to hear it a couple times, so.
Yeah, I would say we still have, just acknowledge, we still have some open items on the visitor center that we have to discuss amongst ourselves as we left off that discussion a few weeks ago, but I think we're making progress there, and also very excited about you all being in your new homes down here by the park, so I think it'll be good.
I do too.
A question that I have is that, do you anticipate any financial requests coming to the Board of Commissioners now in the near future, in the next 5 years, outside of the lodging tax that you will need to operate on?
I do not have any expectations of any extra.
I want to know where my spider bone happens here. But,
Unless, unfortunately, something would happen that makes everything go southbound, no, we have no anticipation. I do have, we have just committed from our board some allocations. We're working on a news website as of last week, so that's good. And that's the one thing I can say, blessings of having that money, because we have, if you get on Visit Chillicothe, Ohio right now, you sort of have to verify you're human. That's because there's been so much traffic, the traffic is increased so much that our website just can't handle it. Great problem to have. So we're working on a new website right now. And we have also allocated some funds to help us with the move, whether that's furniture or just the physical move itself.
I think the risk that I see is, in talking with Melody and the recent conference she attended, there are counties that are not enforcing lodging tax of hotels, and that has impacted even their ability to attend conferences.
Just to operate.
Just to operate.
Yeah, I mean, just to operate.
So I think the larger scale of what happens in lodging tax and how it's enforced, not just with Airbnbs and short-term rentals, but among the hotels. Certain hotelers kind of follow the lead of the auditor, and some follow the rule of the law. And some hotelers will move in the direction of what the auditor is enforcing or not. And that has been seen, that's not hyperbole, that's fact, that's happening in counties right now.
So we have a county in the Appalachian region that's got 4 properties that has not remitted lodging tax or sales tax in over 4 months.
Hotel property.
Hotels, yeah, not.
There are
So
hotels.
she has
Yes.
laid off 2 employees and did not attend conference because she is so strapped. So luckily, we're not in that position right this second, but it is something for us all to be aware of.
Well, and that's a separate issue from Airbnb.
100%.
The Airbnb lodging tax is an issue in just almost every county.
Every
in the
county.
state.
Yeah.
And so you've got semi-registered, people essentially renting out space in their homes or second properties. That's, in my view, a much different conversation than a hotel that is operating as a,
And collecting,
and collecting.
both
Right.
lodging and sales tax,
Right.
But there are hotelers that will follow,
unfortunately.
and not us.
Well, I also view, and I think we've gotten into this during board meetings before, is the state legislature has not provided legislation that has enforcement strength or strong enforcement of these things. And I think that
As
issue
we get,
continues
yeah.
to grow in every county across the state. At some point, that issue has to be brought to the legislature to say, there's not a lot of mechanisms even for, a county at whatever level to enforce these issues.
So we are trying to get House Bill 161 passed, which would help address that exact problem. So we're hoping it's going to be heard sooner rather than later.
That answers your question, trying to give you insight to if there's changes, then obviously that will affect Melody's budget, the ability to market Ross County, Chillicothe.
Hopefully the visitor center will pay off.
Yes.
It's a big investment, so.
It's a big investment. It's definitely an exciting future.
Yes, it is.
Renewed Yoctangi Park that it sits in. We're cleaning out all the rooms here for the guests to come to Ross County.
Absolutely. We're setting the stage. And it's all about experiences. Anywhere you go. It's one thing to have the stuff in your community, but if you don't give them the experience they're looking for, they're not coming back, and they're not telling anyone else. We have really good partners to help create that experience, from hotels, from short-term rentals, from our attractions. I've heard such good things this year about the experience at the Dina Mansion. I've had some very critical people say it's the best tour they've ever had up there. So that's all good stuff.
Good.
All these World Heritage Site or both sites being dressed up with the
With
EGT
the-
grant.
yes. Now if we can just get the government to open back up so we can have rangers back out there.
Yeah, that again
It'll-
too is temporary.
Yeah, it'll happen. I think the last time it was 35 days when we shut down, so get through this week and then hopefully we can have them back out there. Because we need them in the room,
Yeah.
for sure.
We won't get into a political discussion here, but
No.
it is what it is and it's out of
It
our
is what
control.
it is.
Okay. Do you want to take any action on this agreement? Motion, formal motion? You want to talk more about it?
I do have a question. This agreement is the same contract that is standing as of current. There's no.
There's not one change.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Please, my copy of that. Oh, you got the original.
Thank you. We appreciate your support.
Yeah.
It takes a village, and we have it here, that's what I can say, from top to bottom. Everyone at least is moving in the same direction. And not every community can say that.
That's teamwork.
It's true.
We're doing that
Teamwork
with
is
everybody.
dream work, right? That's what they say. I think in
That's
the
what they
sports,
say.
in the sports world, that's what they're.
Yeah, speaking of Canadian visitors, I did bump into 2 Canadians yesterday at the Bengals game, so.
Well, they made it that far.
They made it close enough.
They made it that far. Very good. And
From
did,
British Columbia.
really? Interesting. Well, I will send you those numbers as soon as I get back.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I will email you a copy.
See you guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
You know, Brad, it just occurred to me earlier,
There you
we
go.
got a Scoot. Might be payback for making fun of the sheriff on his computer.
I'm sure it is.
Hi there, how are you?
We got that, we got that name because he fell off it. So I
Yeah.
haven't fallen off that one yet.
Sure.
We gotta get over our work here, so
Get up there. I'm just here.
All right, well, sorry that we're a little bit late here, but,
No problem.
well, we're all ready for you. so for sure.
You want to pass it here?
Please.
I'm write it out so I can just stay on topic and get her done.
All right.
Thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. I'm here to address several points regarding the Ross County Senior Center and its services. First, I want to explain why I did not proceed with applying for the commercial level 4 food license. The letter accompanying the checks stated that resuming meal services in Adelphi is contingent on the levy renewal passing in November. I saw no reason to expend my time and RCCE funds on a food license if it's dependent on the renewal levy passage. The decision is also influenced by the fact that money was spent on the food license in 2023, which was ultimately wasted because the Adelphi site was not reopened. Second, the conditions outlined in the RCCE's July 1st, 2025 proposal to resume services at the satellite locations in Adelphi and Bainbridge are just not attainable by Adelphi. Specifically, the requirement for the site manager to be a volunteer. Managing a mill site is a job that demands time, training, and labor. It should be a paid position. In 2015, when voters passed the additional 0.3 mill levy, the RCCE managed and maintained 4 congregate mill sites in the county. The site managers were employed by the center, and the RCCE paid rent for the facilities and provided all necessary resources. As we've discussed, these sites present unique challenges and needs. There isn't a single one-size-fits-all solution that will address all of them effectively. I returned the check to the RCCE board president last Tuesday afternoon due to these reasons, as I don't believe it makes sense to move forward at this time. I also wanted to reiterate that the Village of Adelphi does not operate a senior center. We do not have an organized group of seniors or a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization. We don't have funding at the local level to provide this type of service. I have personally continued to help facilitate a monthly gathering of the individuals who previously attended the Adelphi Congregate Meal Site. The Village of Adelphi has allowed the group to use the facility free of charge for their monthly carry-in luncheon, which began in 2021. Logan Elm Healthcare, an agency from Pickaway County, assists in providing the meals for the group. Additionally, I wish to correct a comment made at your meeting 2 weeks ago stating that my husband and I each earned $70,000 annually working for the Village of Adelphi. The statement is inaccurate. The Village of Adelphi position was created in 2009, and I independently handle all aspects of the sewer utility service for 192 customers, in addition to many other village responsibilities. This is a part-time position, allotted 24 hours per week. I started at $10 an hour, and after 15 years, currently earn $16 an hour. I have never earned $20,000 per year at this role. My husband, a retired union carpenter and senior citizen receiving Social Security, has income limitations. 2025 will be his first full year performing maintenance for the village, and his annual wages are projected to be about half of mine. While the village wages are not relevant to the core issues, the salaries of the RCCE director and assistant director are pertinent because, as a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, no part of the organization's earnings may be used to benefit private individuals, such as officers or directors, except for reasonable compensation for services rendered. I emphasize reasonable. The combined wages of these two positions exceed $200,000. Each of their salaries exceed what a county commissioner or a state representative earns. In a period of 4 years, from 2019 to 2022, which has been stated the last time they received a raise, their salary increase was over $33,000 each. That's over $8,200 a year in increase. This increase occurred while they failed to reopen the 2 other congregate meal sites in the county. And a lack of funds is the reason they are stating for not restoring the services that were provided pre-pandemic. Many believe it's time for reorganization of the Ross County Senior Center. Salaries should be reasonable and proportionate to the work provided. We need an agency with management willing to collaborate with others to provide services to the rural areas of the county. The RCCE receives over $1 million annually from 2 countywide property tax levies, plus additional funding from the Ohio Department of Aging, Passport Medicaid program, grants, and donations, bringing their total revenue to approximately $2 million per year. Some of this funding supports their contract with Area Agency on Aging District 7 for the Meals on Wheels program. We believe the revenue from the property tax levies is disproportionately allocated to the Western Avenue facility and its programming, as well as excessive salaries and benefits. At the RCCE meeting last Tuesday afternoon, they followed through and added 3 new board members representing Adelphi, Bainbridge, and Londonderry seniors. The new members were instructed that what was discussed in their board meetings was not to be disclosed outside of their meetings, that they would decide and control what information would be released. When I questioned the reason for the secrecy of the board, they stated their policy was due to hurt feelings. I myself don't understand this being a problem if only business is being discussed. As government officials, we operate on an open policy, transparency of records, meetings, and officials. Since senior services in Ross County are not administered by the county government, and you, the commissioners, have chosen to contract these services to a private nonprofit organization, this entity, which receives public dollars, is not subject to the same scrutiny as a government-run entity. They are also not subject to sunshine laws, which ensure transparency of records. Given this choice, the only oversight of this contracted agency becomes the responsibility of your office. At one point, you stated you had requested records and were not receiving them, then later apologized stating that the required records were being sent. This suggests a lack of thorough review and oversight regarding the disbursement of taxpayer funds. We hope that you will be more diligent in your review and oversight of this agency in the future. In November 2023, after more than 2 years of requests, I finally was allowed to address the Ross County Committee for the Elderly's Board. They took no action to address the management practices of the Ross County Senior Center. We've presented numerous concerns regarding the Ross County Senior Center to you. We believe that you had the opportunity to address these issues when amending the contract with RCCE to include the .3 mil levy. However, we feel you did not address our concerns regarding management, transparency of records, and you also prevented us from attending the follow-up meeting on August 18th by informing us that it would be executive session. Then you pushed forward with the signing of the new contract. Many of us believe that if this agency has nothing to hide, they would be an open book. In fact, the RCCE's 2023 IRS Form 990 Schedule O twice states, our organization makes all governing documents, policies, and financial statements available to the public upon request. This is a false statement. I have advocated for the RCCE to have a more diverse board for decision-making, open public meetings, and transparency with bylaws, meeting minutes, board members, and records requests. I advocate for them to provide the service that they offered pre-pandemic and for well over 35 years, and to prioritize establishing satellite meal sites for seniors in rural areas of the county. The problem is not a lack of funding, it is a matter of management. The treatment from the management at the Ross County Senior Center has not changed. We understand your encouragement to move forward, but we believe it is important to acknowledge the past issues are still clearly impacting the present situation. Sometimes progress requires change. RCCE's funding comes from the people, and when their voices are not heard, their concerns are ignored, and no action is taken to address these concerns, the people are forced to act for change. This issue that prevented the Adelphi site from reopening was not due to any issues on our part. The problem lies with Ross County Senior Center. Thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you for that. That was awesome. I learned some new things from that.
So, we were always willing to do whatever they wanted us to do to get the site open. We did all the things.
So prior to the pandemic, it was paid people running the centers in Bainbridge and Adelphi.
Yes.
And London.
I don't know about Londonderry. I'm not for sure, but I do have documentation from the 2019 appropriations that they had, somebody had gotten for me, and it shows that the Bainbridge and Adelphi site were both paid positions. And I do have documentation that shows that they paid us rent in Adelphi for the site, for the use of the site, and they also paid for all the supplies.
You're in a different facility now. I think Josh is working with you for a place to go and have your bring in lunches.
Oh, no, we're still in the same building.
You're in the same building?
Oh, yeah, we're still in the same, it's the old firehouse.
Okay, so but they're letting you use that rent free right now. You're not paying anything for it.
Oh, no, the village owns the building.
Right.
So yes, I mean, we're already paying for, I mean, our village offices are there and the food pantry's there, so we're already paying to have it heated and cooled and
right.
Electricity and all that
Well,
stuff.
I'm all for that. I'm just trying to get
Yeah.
it clarified in my head how this works.
Yeah.
Because I know Bainbridge is a bit different.
Yeah, see, Bainbridge owns their facility.
Right.
They have to worry about paying the utilities, and they also have a big insurance payment coming up that they have to come up with the money for. So, yeah, I mean, their circumstances is way different from ours, because they have a group already together that's been together. They've been a 501c3 for a while. And they have a group, and they're also meeting and doing things in the community. So they more or less need help with their, with money for utilities and expenses, and then they would like to have the meals delivered. Us, we just don't have nothing out there. There's, I'm getting these people together once a month because they miss each other, so.
We're in unique times with the push to get rid of property taxes altogether, which makes this all nil. There's the property owners have had it. They have been taxed and taxed and taxed without any regard of their concerns and without any real proof that the money is needed to go up that much. It's a flaw in the formula. So we have a voting public that's already on edge. And when it comes to the senior center, I don't want to see that funding go away and then we start at square zero. But by the same token, I listen to the issues that you and Bainbridge bring up, and we have to do something about that. I mean, not having your centers open is a real problem. I'm speaking for myself here, but it was right before the pandemic. It should be right now.
Right.
So we've been working with them on ways to get this open, and I think the food license is one of the overtures that has come from this, but there still is a reluctance to work together. And I think
when I get the letter and it says that first this has to happen, and that was the levy has to pass, and I'm like, well, why would I spend out this money if it's contingent upon the levy passing? Or should we wait till November and see if the levy passes?
Their other funding is resulting of it's about half of what they take in from the levies.
Yes.
Both of them put together.
Right.
And the one that is up for renewal is the bigger of the two. No, it's the smaller of the two. We got that look at later on this morning. So I don't want to burn down the village claiming to save it, and then not have anything left. That's irresponsible. So continuing to work with the Ross County Senior Center is the avenue that we're pursuing. But I think that you mentioned some things in your report there that I was unaware of. So I'm reconsidering what I'm thinking right now.
Right. And I don't say anything that I don't have proof of.
Is there a way that I can get a copy of that so I can?
Of my yeah.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, can I make a copy right now?
Yeah.
Thanks. You guys?
I have a couple thoughts. First, as Jack said, this has been an ongoing discussion. I think that mostly began this year, although there were iterations of the conversation before. I think for the purpose of clarifying the record, we did request information, the Senior Citizens Center, the entity, the incorporated, is required to submit yearly reports to the county commissioners. We kind of
monthly reports.
Well, they have a yearly financial report that they're supposed to submit. We had found, or perhaps we didn't find, we had found that those reports had not been submitted, or we did not have a record of those reports. Going back intermittently for a decade. So those reports were submitted, and so perhaps when you were referencing that, that evolved from these reports haven't been received to them. They were received, some of them there were received before others. when you mentioned the contract, and I just wanting to clarify this for the purpose of everyone's understanding. We're under an existing contract with the Senior Citizen Center now. That contract is one that cannot be broken at any time. There are elements of that contract, and I don't have it committed to memory, but I believe that we would need to provide notice prior to early January, and that's a 6-month notice that would end the contract in July. So through the last, at least since I've been on the board beginning last January, there's not been a time in which we had the ability to end or change the contract. The contract in that it was changed, I believe that was probably September, was an opinion that we received from the prosecutor around how do we move forward, because the specific levies, each of them specifically, were not called out within that existing document. And so the prosecutor felt that the way to resolve that question, where it wasn't changing the contract, it just specifically said that these levy dollars, breaking down this levy and that levy, are applied to the senior center. So based upon our recommendation from the prosecutor, we were never in a position in which we had, if you want to use the word leverage or change to have that conversation. I think, and I'm speaking for myself, I think so many of the concerns that you brought forward are concerns that I share about the way that the Senior Citizen Center is currently structured, and the contract that we have with them is currently structured. We don't have a lot of oversight. We don't have oversight into the board. We don't have oversight in the way that they spend or allocate the dollars that they receive. I actually agree with you that although they're a private organization, I would venture a guess that between county government and other government entities, probably close to 100% of their funding is public dollars. And so I think that it's very reasonable to expect open meetings and more transparency. I think a lot of the issues that have grown over the years related to that contract, a lot of them come because of lack of transparency and lack of oversight. That lack of oversight, in my opinion, is ingrained within the structure of the contract between the county and the Citizen Center itself. So I think that some other concerns I have is the one that probably brought you here to begin with, is the fact that there's not been continual service or service ended in Adelphi and in Bainbridge. It's been our position, all three of us unanimously, that we have directed the Senior Center to resume those services. I understand that there's conversations be happening between them and Adelphi and them in Bainbridge, but my expectation is that that service will be resumed. And in just separate from the congregate meal service, you know, one thing that's been growing and that I've heard more and more from residents continually is that, you know, if you call to request Meals on Wheels, you're put on the wait list, and there's not a great transparency for those callers. The experience has been, what wait list am I on? And I called and then called 6 months later, and they put me back on the wait list. So I think those elements are things that need to be addressed. I think that you're right in the fact that, and this contract predates all three of us. The current contract goes back to 2014, but the entity and the relationship between the county and the entity goes back even further than that. And so I think one other thing you said, which was, you know, you're waiting for the results of the levy because it doesn't make sense for you to proceed down this arduous route to solve a problem that may be changed based upon the circumstances that would happen whether the levy wins or the levy fails. I think that's kind of a similar position that I've taken, where one, I don't I don't want to weigh in to the citizens on whether they should support or should not support a levy. And I don't view that as my job or the job of the County Board of Commissioners. But early voting, I think, starts tomorrow, so we'll know the results of that levy in about a month. Regardless of the results of the levy, I think that it's time to review the existing contract between the Board of Commissioners and the Senior Center. And I think that, from my perspective as one of three, I would like to see better oversight built into the contract itself and address some of those issues to make the dollars of the Ross County citizens go further in providing the services that they should be provided with this relationship. So I know it's been a long back and forth process, and I'm sure that there's been times where folks in Bainbridge or Adelphia have felt that the Board of Commissioners aren't engaged as they should be on this issue, or that they don't care. For me, that's, and I don't think for any of us that's been the case. I think it's just a matter of, one, existing contracts, two, the contract that does exist lacks our ability to direct or change any element of their operation significantly, and making sure as well, you know, and I'll speak again specifically for myself. I've been in this position now 10 months. I don't think, for me, I wanted to make sure that this was a learning process, and so that I was listening to Adelphi, listening to Bainbridge, listening to the folks who utilize not just management, but the citizens who utilize the services in Western Avenue. I think those people are an important part of the equation as well. And so my piece has been not to be rash, but to go through the work, go through the paperwork, go through those financial elements. I think we're to the point now where, as this conversation has occurred over the course of the several months, it's becoming clear that now is the time to restructure some things and make sure that everything works in a better way that works for everybody in Ross County, especially should that levy pass this fall.
That's all great points, and just how that change to the contract is facilitated. It takes us 6 months advance notice. And the contract originally, the old one, was signed in July. So the normal course that we were thinking was January, hey, we will request a review of the contract and change certain aspects of the contract. So that, and one of them is that it has to cover the county.
Right.
It has to cover the county.
I mean, even if you have public meetings, I mean, we have, our council meetings are open to the public. There's times nobody's there, just the people that have to be there. But you know, you are given the opportunity to go and listen in and you make your voice heard if you want, you know.
That's why we're on YouTube now.
Yeah.
This is the first year we've done that.
Right.
It was just closed and or it was open, but nobody showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, going back and be able to review the meetings, and I think that's helpful for understanding what we're thinking up here and the different situations that approaches this room.
Right.
So,
You know, I mean,
We really have no control over how much the director or anybody else gets paid, and I think, to me, in my opinion, that's a major problem for the whole,
well, yeah, 'cause
whole
some
senior
some
part.
of that salary would run our
Yeah.
center.
We can't force the senior citizens to use the levy money to open Adelphia. We can't force them to open Bainbridge, and that's, in my opinion, you guys come to see us almost to have us to tell them to open. We could tell them to open up, and they can say, okay, we're gonna open up, and still not open up, because we can't force them to do that.
Right.
Until there's a change out on Western Avenue, I really don't see Adelphi or Bainbridge opening back up. I talked to them before,
Yeah,
you know,
they're just not willing.
you know,
They're
before
not
these
willing
two guys
spirits.
came in here, and it's the same thing, it's nothing changed. Only thing changes now is, you know, I tried to explain to them, saying, you're going to Adelphia anyway, and you're delivering 4 meals out to Adelphia. When you can't, how come you can't load another 20 meals up and drop it off at the village hall for them people there to get together every day? You're already going out there anyway.
Right.
Well, first thing he said, we can't do that. Well, why come you can't do that? Well, I didn't get an answer. So, I mean, that's it. Well, and then I go to a meeting out there, and they're complaining because there's 8 people or 9 people that go to Adelphi, and 2 of the people live in Warville, which is in Hocking County. Well, that's, they're close to each other, you could throw a rock in, you know.
Yeah.
The village to village. So that, to me, that's really not a good excuse to use.
A lot of them that do come grew up in Adelphi.
Yeah, and I mean,
They come back.
it's almost the same village. I mean,
Yeah.
just one's in Ross County, part of it's in Ross County, part of it's in Hocking County. So it's really not a big thing. Until the leadership out on Avenue changes.
Right.
there's
Well,
really-
and I am pro change. She's been there 38 years, and I think that you kind of get set in your ways and the way you want to do things, and you're not open to other ideas and other input from people, and your salary grows and grows and grows, and after a while you've got to say, hey, maybe it's time for a new leadership, starting them out at a lower salary.
Yeah, because, you know, up here with us
Somebody with
three,
new ideas.
with us 3 up here,
Yeah.
2 out of the 3 up here are seniors.
I just become one.
So, I mean, it's just, I'd like to make the money that they make out there, but
Yeah, we don't make that.
we don't make that cut.
I definitely don't, and I got.
Kathy had her hand up there.
How
with the
can we replace a board that appoints themselves? We have no vote on that. And we started this process, I think, 3 years ago, Joyce. And nothing has been, they don't return our calls. They don't want to deal with us. They just want us to close down. And dealing with the board, the present board, especially the top 2 officers, we just don't, it was not an easy decision to fight the levy. Believe me, it wasn't. In fact, we feel like we were pushed into that corner to get the public to know why we're fighting it. Because it's been a losing battle for 3 years. And it's all, like, I agree with you completely, it's all on that board, but nobody's overseeing that board, and they don't have to answer to anybody.
Well,
So they like it the way it is.
And I think tensions have been heated at various times around this, and so the way that I try to do it to cut through that, right, is to say, pretend this isn't about the senior citizens group, pretend it's just absent whatever the issue is, look at it organizational structure-wise. You know, the county is contracting with an entity, a nonprofit entity, but any nonprofit entity that's using public funding, so whether it's for the seniors or whatever, the structure that we have built right now, I think, is what is promoting some of the challenges that we have. You have self-appointed board members, you have a lack of public transparency around the decisions that are made and why. You know, you have a high overhead ratio, if you want to call it that, between services rendered to costs of organization. I won't even get into wages and avoid that. You look at that structure, and to me that says, regardless of what it's for, I think the county needs to evaluate the structure of that entity and either achieve better oversight by structurally changing the organization and or the contract, or depart from that contract. And to me, when you look at those things, absent the people and the services itself, those type of contracts I don't think are really in the best interest over the long course for the county to be in, because it leaves us in a position where we're at now, where we cannot be nimble in our ability to correct or direction on things that we see that should be happening that aren't currently happening.
Can I say something? I'm Joyce Benner, and at our last Bainbridge meeting, we were told that we were to decide on 3 representatives and that the Ross County Senior Center Board would approve one of those after they interviewed each one. Well, our board decided to send one, and that was me. And so I attended a meeting on the 30th. And they asked Adelphi, had a representative, Londonderry. Each one of us stood up, told them a little bit about ourselves and why we wanted to be on the committee. And I told them I was an advocate for the seniors in Bainbridge. Well, I was also told that they asked me what I would do, and I said, well, I would take the information back to Bainbridge and share with them. And at that time, one of the members tried to table my appointment because I said that. Because he said, what happens in this room stays in this room, and we don't want anything posted on Facebook. And I said, well, I'm sorry, as a representative of Bainbridge, I am obligated to take this information to the board of Bainbridge. And there was lots and lots of discussion. And I will say it wasn't unanimous that I was appointed about that. But I was appointed, the majority did appoint me, but there was several that felt they should table it and decide about the secrecy. And that really surprised me, because knowing that I was a representative for Bainbridge, that it's usually natural, if you are, that you take that information back to the original board.
Other than the people that were on the board, when you went to that meeting, was there anybody else there?
No, the public cannot come in.
I'm just,
Mr.
how does the information get from the board having a meeting
out
to the senior citizens of Ross County?
Other than through Joe.
If you can't say anything about what happened in the meeting,
Yeah.
so how's anybody else?
It doesn't happen.
They said that they decide what
Yeah.
information to release.
There was a lot of discussion, and there was several. When I said, as a representative of Bainbridge, I would be obligated to take that information back, and when they came up with a vote, there was several people that did not want me on the board because I said that. But I will say that Mr. Drake, Terry Drake, was head of the board, and he seems to be very wanting us to come together and wanting to work with Bainbridge and Adelphi and try to get this some kind of agreement to happen. And he was the one that called me and asked me to come. And I didn't realize that. I thought, okay, since Bainbridge appointed me, you know, why are they have to appoint me? So, but I went through a process. But they originally told us to choose 3 people. They would interview all 3, and then they would choose which one they wanted on their board. It wasn't the one that Bainbridge wanted on the board, it was the one they wanted on the board. And that's exactly how they put it.
And our representatives are supposed to meet with them on the 14th, right?
Yeah. We have another meeting coming up in 2 weeks.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming in and sharing that. I think you did very well in organizing yourself and your thoughts. Thank you for sharing that. As I said, there's not a resolution to this right now, but I think the course of time will prove that there should be. We've got to get to those next steps before we can, and so I would encourage continued engagement with them. And you know, I think my position has been, despite everything I said structurally, is, you know, us micromanaging this isn't the response. The direction should be, hey, you were doing this. That's exactly where we left off. This was a service that was provided. It's not, resume it. I know it's not that simple, but it could be simple if there was willingness on both parties to agree. Yeah, so.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
I'm looking at the agreement, not the new one that we signed, but the old one, and we didn't change anything on this. It says, this agreement shall remain in effect from this 21st day of July 2014 through December 31st, 2019. After such time, this agreement shall be automatically renewed for successive one-year terms unless either party notifies the other in writing at least 6 months prior to the scheduled for commencement of a new term. So this term begins in July.
Yes.
If that's what I was.
Yes. So we have to make our mind up in July, before July, if we're gonna get out
6 months
with
before
it.
July.
January, we'll have to.
January,
Yes.
we're gonna have to take, and I don't know why we couldn't give even, you know, more immediate notice.
We can. My thing is go and give them notice now and don't go over the contract with them. I don't know what they would do if we don't have a contract with them. They would still receive their money.
Well, part of my thing is, yes, you have to do it before January. You don't have to wait until January. I guess technically we could. You're still gonna be under the same exact contract until July. And, you know, as you kind of started this, Jack, I'm trying to be sensitive about some of this. Yes, there are inherent issues, but the levy dollars, the levy itself isn't forever tied to this contract or that organization. And so part of it is just sensitivity around the voters, the voters to decide for themselves what the future of this looks like without us, you know, saying we're gonna end the contract right in the middle of the election. Because the contract itself is gonna change, or it's not the contract, but the relationship itself is gonna be dependent upon whether this levy passes or not. You know, it's gonna be a much different conversation.
Well, that's just, it's gonna be, you know, they're gonna, you know, you're gonna come out, they're gonna, you know, you got some people coming out and say, well, don't pass the levy because Bainbridge and the Delphis aren't getting the service. But the problem with it is, they don't pass that levy, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that either one of them, a Delphi or Bainbridge, is gonna get any service out there.
It'll take away half the funding.
Yeah, it's gonna take away half the funding that they're getting now. And I can, you know, it's not.
Well, they're not gonna be able to function under their current operation.
Right.
without that levy.
Yeah, and this is one of these things where, you know, and I don't see the director out there or the assistant director out there saying, well, if the levy doesn't pass, I'm gonna take a pay cut. I can definitely see that neither one of them's gonna say that.
That's not gonna save the day.
That's not, you know, taking, you know, but they're, you know, that's gonna have to be left up to them. And the way their board operates, we don't have no control over that whatsoever, the way their board operates.
I think to me, that's when we end this contract. I will want to look for some structural changes of that organization before I would feel comfortable in initiating
Another contract.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you end the contract, you say,
Yeah.
here are some things that need to be changed. With, you know, really, we're setting the parameters around the bare minimum of any entity that we would contract with. Like, I can't see having another contract ever that would be with an organization that we have absolutely no oversight on how they spend the dollars that we're responsible
And
for.
that's the same thing with trying to get with Region 7. They have no control over them either.
Yeah.
So who has control over the senior citizens, to me, would be Region 7, who's over the elderly, they would have more control over that than we would, but they don't.
I'm discouraged by seeing a $33,000 increase over 4 years each. More than work, because the information that we got when we were looking through the financials predated 2019. Or they did not predate 2019. We
No,
didn't
they
see
did.
what they were making before. So I had no scale to look at this at. But if, you know, you take big increases in salary and you shave off areas of operation, it's a little bit of a problem.
I think we're going to have to look at that. If we are, we're going to have to look at that to find out if that's really,
To back it up.
yeah, you know, just because she said it, they're over there saying, no, it didn't happen. She's saying, yeah, it did happen, but if Delphi can't get to look at their financial papers, how can she say that they got a 33% or $33,000 raise in 2 years?
Well, yeah, and for me, it's like, how deep in the weeds you wanna go, and that's why I was saying before, from tensions and, you know, I don't wanna get specific to individuals, because this relationship between us and them isn't even about that. To me, it's the structure of what is this organization, any organization X. If you came to me and described, if this was new, and organization X came in and said, we want to use the county's tax dollars and administer the county's tax funds for this purpose. The citizens have set aside this money to go to an organization, but we want to do it without board. We want to appoint our own board, and our board will set all the salaries, all the hiring of their entire staff, because it's more than just two staff. And I think there's probably people who work there who do a good job. You know, that's why I don't want to get that granular, but you've got that. Oh, we also don't want to have public meetings. We don't, you know, all of these things. That type of structure is not a good structure for the county to initiate a contract with, because we're living out, I think, what happens to that over the course of decades of having an entity administering tax dollars without a whole lot of carrots and sticks that the county, that whatever the taxing agent, oversight agency is, in this case it's us, doesn't make sense. If we don't have that leverage, it's not a good contract.
And that's just like now, I'll use Dave as an example. If he goes up to senior citizens right now and asks the senior citizens to see their books, he's gonna get told no. And their attorney's gonna contact him and say, you can't see their books because it's a private organization. I mean, it's happened before.
It's happened.
It's happened.
You know, in the contract, that's our leverage, is we have a contract with them. And if we work it in there as a statement, then you will compensate positions based on salary surveys that are normal and functional for area positions, like positions. But there's wording that we can go around that and dial it back in without getting into personalities. But we know what the problem is, and to shave service area off at a benefit to something else, I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And that's what looks like it happened, and that's where I can see the people being upset about it, and I feel the responsibility, we need to do something about that. So, I think we put in notice here promptly that we request a change in contract for the next cycle. And we start coming up with a strategy to take care of the problem. Otherwise,
Or just get out of the contract altogether.
Well, otherwise our levy's gonna tank, and then this is all gonna be a moot point and no service to the seniors to begin with. And I don't wanna see that happen. I wanna see this fixed. And I think we can do that. All right, let's go on to county business. Unless you have other comments in this.
I was even nice.
I know you were. I was surprised. Bills for the week. I'm proud of
It's a
you.
relative term, though.
Yeah.
Respect my elders.
$1,742,707.66. $1,060,190.84 was Sevco payment for the insurance payment.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then and now, $131,357.21. And $83,000 of that was to rehab the runway apron, and that was grant money. Then there was another $46,000 for Ford F-150 from, that was from the sheriff's.
What was that?
F-150. 210 is the, it doesn't give the department here. Who's 210?
That is sheriff.
Sheriff?
You probably bought a vehicle.
Yeah, and that's what, F-150.
Yeah.
So that was the main culprits of the $131,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
You're mad about the pickup, aren't you?
Second.
All in favor,
Yes.
say aye.
Yes. Yes, I will.
Aye. Transfer funds, this is from the commissioners. We have requests or transfer of funds from rentals to advertising and printing, $2,000.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. You know what legal notices those are?
It's everything that we had put out for our RFPs and RFQs.
That might be it, yeah. Transfer from the Ross County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement services. And, transfer $15,650 from contract services to equipment. Additional funds needed to replace firearms. $15,650.
So moved.
Coming out of contract services.
Second, but you're gonna need more than $15,000. You're gonna
We
replace.
did one last week.
Okay.
It was a bigger one.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
How many guns is that, do you think? Every
71.
I thought he said 70. I thought he said 70 something.
Yeah.
71.
Transfer of funds, this is also from the general fund to the law enforcement fund and litter funds for $3,357,306.67 for the correctional law enforcement account and $28,125 for litter control, for a total of $3,385,431.67.
Transfer within the department.
Yeah, that's the,
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Part of the litter control is heat control.
No.
That's what I thought.
Why would that be on that one? Is it just a transfer from downstairs? to
It's
this
a
one?
cash transfer into the account.
Transfer of funds, quarterly cash transfer from general fund to VOCA, the fund supplemental grant funds. So this is from the general fund to the state, the VOCA,
Okay.
for $22,289.50.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Appropriation of funds, dog warden for dog and kennels. This is to appropriate funds for the 2026 dog tag mailing, $5,200.
Transfers from the general fund.
From dog and kennel to postage. Dog and kennel fund to postage.
David, you make that motion?
Yeah, I did.
I'll second.
Just because it was a transfer.
All in favor,
I'm
say
just
aye.
thinking.
Yeah.
Aye. So that means the auditor's posting
Yeah.
ought to go down $5,000.
The auditor's post? No, this is the paper postage on the dog tag mailings.
I bet you 10 to 1 that's in his budget. But,
So this is for the dog warden.
okay.
They must mail
Department
out,
head
they must
check.
mail out a letter reminding people to
Get their dog.
get their
Right.
dog tags. Yeah.
Yeah, they do that, they mail out a letter, but.
What's
It's a-
it going up?
Okay.
So it's 70 cents a stamp nowadays.
Something like that.
Okay.
These folks.
We said yes.
All in favor, say aye. I got lost in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's only October, so it's not getting, when we get to November and you got transfers that stack 2 inches thick.
Yeah.
Because they're moving money around, yeah, then that's,
It's enlightening for budget season though.
Yeah.
What line items were short,
That's
and
right.
what line items were heavy.
It's from the juggling experts. All right, this is from Ross County Board of Elections. From general fund to contract services, this is appropriate grant funds from 126,004,750 to contract services account. So this is taking grant money out of the general fund.
Fund and put it in, yeah.
Put it in,
so,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
all right.
Appropriation of fund from the auditor's office to, this is for foreign judges, $5,000. Increase appropriation to cover anticipated costs of assigned foreign judges in courts for the rest of the year.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I've always heard them called visiting judges.
That's
I've
what I
never heard them
thought.
called foreign
I don't know
judges.
about foreign judges, I thought it was visiting judges, but that's okay.
Well, get a visit twice if we have foreign judges.
That, and we're down on foreign travel.
And I thought that here a couple weeks ago, didn't we take money from the visiting judges thing and put it somewhere else? So now they're, never mind.
Yeah.
Oops.
All right, I have a letter here for the Vandermark Road
So moved.
vacation. That we're not doing it because they've been taking road mileage money.
And they filed it under the wrong ORC.
So we can't do that under that section.
Yeah, just for clarification would be, that's kind of the prosecutor who gave us the legal opinion that this is not the way that we would be doing it improperly. So, I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
My opinion, they'll come back up and let people travel into.
Now we have two resolutions. One is Resolution 4225, accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. And this is for the levy to Oh, this is our property tax reduction.
One of them is property tax and one of them is the health department tax.
What's that?
They just have to be certified.
Certified.
for the year.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
One of them's just levies.
I got a headache.
Too many beans.
It's gonna get worse.
Missed your bean there. I was out of town.
I had a little bowl of beans, but I had two big old heaping bowls of greens.
I'm glad you're sitting down there. Glad I am.
Oh, no.
Ate some, had some jalapeno
Still
corn.
on camera.
I had some jalapeno cornbread. That was great.
Yes, sir.
That's all right.
Diane.
These have to be done every year, certified levies, that we have the funds there.
I think we forgot to sign up here, didn't we? We got to sign up there.
We got to sign up there too.
Yeah. We got two places.
Skip one. Fun one. This is the same thing. This is Resolution 4325. Authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. And this is for Children's Services levy, $1,237,850. That was okayed by the voters on November 8th, 2022, and expires in 2027. Developmental Disabilities levy, authorized by the voters on May 4th, 2010 for continuing years. That's a 3.8 mil, $5,303,550. Developmental Disabilities levy, authorized March 15th, 2016 for continuing years, $4,372,976. And Senior Citizens levy, this is the big one, not the one on the
Well,
one current, that's $648,611.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. I still like Andy's, I'll do this nice short and sweet. Half hour, 45 minutes. He always does that.
What's that?
Andy,
Oh.
have the, just say, well, this is gonna be nice, short and sweet. He's half hour, 45 minutes.
Short and sweet for him.
Yeah.
Well, we did ask him some questions.
Yeah, I kept that going. That's my fault.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
I put the wrong date on the last one I signed.
Day's the 6th.
I can't remember if I'm the.
Yeah, you put the 6th in there.
It'd be strange if I didn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the 6th.
That's yours.
Yes. Motion to approve Nancy's statements, or do we need that? We just need me to do it.
No, we need to make a motion. Make a
Nancy
motion.
King.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay, I have an application here for permit for use of the county courthouse steps by Mike Throne
So moved.
for Yellow Day. And that's
May 1st next
May
year.
1st of next year, yeah. So all in favor, say aye. We have asset disposal form, Sheriff's Office, a 2008 Ford Explorer, poor condition, for obsolescence, go on the auction block.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aren't you be putting that foot up on a stool or something?
This is I think this is my last day that I have to, that I'm not supposed to stand on it, you know. I mean, I go back next week for them to look at it. It feels great, it really does. I mean, I think, you know, I take the boot off at night and I can sleep and move it around and it feels really good. So I'm hoping that it's not gonna be 6 weeks in this thing.
Feel tight at all?
Now, see you guys.
Yeah.
See, it does a little bit, but nothing like it thought it was gonna be.
So
They repair your Achilles?
Hmm?
Did they repair your Achilles?
They take all the calcium buildup around it out.
So the asset disposal form for a 2024 GMC Terrain that was wrecked and totaled by the insurance company. It's in the impound lot. So
I think that was a SIU car, I believe. They used it as undercover.
So moved. 2024.
yeah, right. Yeah. Second?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Why couldn't they hit a 2008? Asset disposal form from the Sheriff's Office, 2014 Dodge Avenger, poor condition, 136,774 miles.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
We've got 5 or 6 other ones, keys for them over here, so I think those are the other 3 they were talking about. We're gonna put them all in the auction.
Service Center, 2017 Ford Explorer, poor condition, 174,158 miles.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Whose is that one? Oh, it is at the service center.
Mhm.
That's sheriff too.
Yeah.
Didn't they sit a couple of them out there and somebody stole one or did something to it or took parts off of it or something?
Took a catalytic converter off of it.
You guys got me all
I
messed up.
knew you were gonna say so. I knew you were gonna say so.
Jack, you went to the second line.
I know.
David went to the third line.
See,
I
you
go to the
guys-
first
I think you were showing the
line.
third
Make sure
line.
we're awake, is that what you're
That's
doing?
it.
Okay.
That's it.
Just wanna make sure.
There's an application to attend a meeting for Thompson on October 2nd and 3rd, Jackson County, that's the one he was talking
So
about this
the-
morning.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Glad you approved.
Glad we took care of that.
If we'd have said no, what are we gonna do? You've already been there.
Let's get the ones that don't cost anything, so we'll get them.
Yeah, I'm glad he did it instead of waiting.
We have the statement for the September bills for the South Central Ohio Regional Juvenile Detention Center, $55,954.27.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're having an emergency board meeting tomorrow to talk about faulty work that was done on the air conditioner installed out there, and resulting problems with the facility. And then this is for information only, but the reimbursement submissions for indigent defense statewide is $226.3 million. We have had to set the annual reimbursement rate of 82% for each county. This remains the fourth highest reimbursement rate in Ohio history. The invoices that you receive from our office reflect 18% of the cost of providing indigent defense for the services that we are under contract to provide. This is from the Office of Ohio Public Defender.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Brett?
I got a few things for you. Let me hobble up there.
I want to remind you guys, you have to find your own vehicle for the Halloween parade.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna get in the back of the Ford Explorer, with the windows rolled up, and Kathy's gonna drive us.
Is that the one that's red?
Yeah, it's red one. Get the red one.
I haven't been to a Halloween parade in years. I'm not breaking my streak.
My truck is out. It's been in the parade before, but I had that dent from a deer that hit me is not gonna be fixed until December 2nd, so I don't know if that's gonna be the best look. We'll figure something out.
Couple reminders, we have our annual planning meeting with the FAA on Tuesday this week at 9 a.m. And then we have our page turn for the courthouse renovation project on Wednesday between 11 and 2.
Thanks for cutting that out.
Yep. There's a time sheet.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
That's what he would do.
Well, I signed it. Never mind. Just go ahead.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, I screwed up too. That's, you guys put it on the second line. I put it on the wrong line.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you'd seen that smiling face there yet or not.
Jeez. Yeah, that was a nice event. There was a couple people there. I think it was 3,000.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was
Big event.
Yeah.
Well, you made the, you
Made the cover of the Rolling Stone.
Exactly.
Get the darts out, we'll take care of that picture.
We gotta give it to Sarah so she can post it.
Yep, I will. It's online. This is the information, I think, Ben, I don't know if you saw it or not, but Ben sent it for the JDC meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to talk about that, if you needed to look at it, I just thought you better have it. And then this is it's a memorandum from Bill John Grass, who is the project manager for the sewer project, and it lists the contractors and the contract amount in the bid awards, and they're recommending that the commissioners accept the bid from
I don't know if they say it TAM or TAM Construction out of Athens, Ohio, and the amount of the base contract was $900,948.
Would that be in the form of a contract, or
There will be a contract.
we have to select it here now by nomination? Or
Yeah.
do I have a motion to approve
So
the
moved.
TAM?
Yep. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
The recommendation.
They had significant lower price on this.
They're the
And I looked at their things you said.
The financials, did you get a chance to look at
And
those
they,
too?
and also the other things and projects they've done and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
they've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
And they're also doing 2 for Devon, so they're
And
APD.
it's just, it's just kind of odd that $8 million compared to $10 million. You know, you try to,
Well, there was one at 9, they're
There was
almost
one-
9, there was another one at 9,
Yeah.
and then there was one at 10, and then the other 2 were 11, almost 12,
Yeah.
which were closer to the engineer's estimate. And sometimes I just wonder if people will just take that number and then kind of subtract some stuff to get
well,
close.
see, that's why I'm hoping that, you know, that there's $8 million we just approved. And did he do the low bid just to, hopefully don't come back later on and say, oh, you know, we forgot this, but the guy who looks after everything, he's make sure that they.
Well, if you look at what they sent to, some of the biggest savings was in the directional boring stuff that we're doing.
Right.
Well, that company is a directional boring company, that's kind of what they do, so
Yeah.
we think they got a better number than, somebody else would have had to hire them to do it probably, so I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
The other piece of that is, you know, this is all grant money, so we've got almost $14 million to spend on this project. We've spent some of it in design, and I'll have a modification for you, but I've got a modification to the contract with MS that we originally had, because we're gonna want them to supervise the project since they did the design. There's some archaeological stuff. We have to have an archaeologist on site when they do the open cutting, so there's a cost for that. It'll all be in the we'll just add that to the original contract that we have, and it will be covered in the grant money as well. So I'll have that to you after Jeff looks at it.
So we'll have a surplus over what we.
We should have a surplus. If, you know, if there's something that comes up, we should have some money there.
Well, I think we'll talk about this after the Page Turner enrollment.
Well, yeah, there shouldn't be, our money should not be involved in this at all. It's all grant money. Yeah, so I think we'll be fine. The Page Turner's another story, and then next week you've got the service center project coming in.
But we need to make sure that we use that ARPA money
We're going
first.
to. Oh, we've got it all planned.
Because we gotta use that ARPA money, it has to be used by end of next year.
Well, and Jerry and I and Kathy talked last week too. So that money is sitting there. It has to be used by the end of next year, in
Right.
December. The other money, the $4 million that's coming from the federal EPA, is reimbursable funds.
Right.
So we're gonna have to allocate $4 million at some point into that same account,
Yeah.
so that when we go to buy stuff, we can get reimbursed for it.
It'll
We don't-
actually go in another account. They're gonna set up a separate line item so we can keep the 2 separate.
Right.
Okay. Because I don't want us to come into next year, the federal government's come in and say, well, you guys didn't spend your.
Well, you know, we've talked about this since the very beginning too, how we're gonna use the monies. The other $4 million, the federal government would rather them say, okay, we're gonna buy all the pipe. We're gonna buy all the lift stations
Right.
with their money, so that they don't have to look at all the prevailing wage stuff
That
and all
comes in.
that other stuff. So, we got it figured out. Okay, thanks, guys.
That's why you and the senior citizens director gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Well, you get the big one.
Does that mean I'm getting a raise?
All right, any other?
No, I'll make a motion to adjourn the formal meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Turn us on.
PC.